Today, let's improve your pronunciation. We're going to review common words that are difficult to pronounce. And these words are even difficult to pronounce for native speakers. Welcome back to J4S English. Of course, I'm Jennifer. Now, let's get started. Our first word. Do you know how to pronounce this? Well, it's not hyperbole. Because remember, spelling and pronunciation are not the same in English. You cannot learn pronunciation from the spelling. So this isn't hyperbole, it's hyperbole. Hyperbole. So listen to that syllable stress. Hyperbole. Now your turn, repeat it out loud. Hyperbole. Hyperbole is a way of speaking where you make exaggerated claims, but they're not meant to be taken literally. We use hyperbole every single day. If you've ever said, "I didn't sleep at all last night," of course, that's just hyperbole. I slept for 3 hours. Our next word, this is one that I didn't know how to pronounce when I first saw it. Do you know how to say this? When I first saw it, I said quay, but it isn't. There's no qu sound in it. It's simply key, like a key to your house. So that one's easy. Repeat it, key. Now, what is a quay? It's a stone structure and boats are tied to it so they can load and unload goods and passengers. That's a quay. You could say the tourists strolled along the quay. Our next word, this is an important communication technique that you can use to sound very professional. Do you know how to pronounce it? Well, it's not segue, it's segue. Segue. So the syllable stress is on segue. Segue. Repeat it, segue. Now, I said this is an important communications technique. A segue is when you transition from one topic of conversation to another. And if you do it very professionally, then you will look like an excellent public speaker. Let's say you're in a meeting and the topic is accounting software. And then someone asks a question and the question is about expense reports. The presenter could say, that question's a great segue to our next slide on filing reports. So it's a great segue. The question acts as a way to transition from one topic to another topic. That's a great segue.
It's a good segue.
Our next word, a lot of native speakers have no idea how to pronounce this because it isn't a word of English origin. So they'll say acai or acai, but that's not it. It's acai. Acai. Repeat it. Acai. Now this is a berry from Brazil that's very popular in North America for its health effects. A lot of restaurants and cafes serve this berry, commonly in smoothies or breakfast. So you might say, I'll have a smoothie with acai and pineapple. Yum, that sounds delicious.
And acai berries are a total scam.
How about this one? Every time I see the spelling, it confuses me. So I have to think about how it's spelled phonetically because it's not colonel, it's kernel. Repeat that, kernel. And of course, a colonel is a position, a high-ranking position in the army or the military. But when I hear Colonel, I always think of Colonel Sanders from KFC. Did you know that Colonel Sanders founded KFC when he was 62 years old? Isn't that incredible? And it just goes to show that it's never too late to start. Our next word. Sometimes native speakers and students confuse the syllable stress and they say artisanal and they put the syllable stress on zone, which isn't correct. The correct pronunciation is artisanal. Artisanal. That's the syllable stress. Artisanal. Repeat that. Artisanal. Now, artisanal represents goods that are made in a traditional way by someone who is skilled with their hands. I always think of bakeries that sell artisanal bread, for example. So you might say, I bought some artisanal bread at that new cafe. Our next word. This is one that is debated by native speakers because some native speakers add an extra syllable and they say realtor, realtor, and they say it with 3 syllables, realtor, when in fact it's 2 syllables, realtor, realtor. So if you hear a native speaker say realtor, just know that that's an alternative pronunciation, but some people get really annoyed by it, some native speakers. So stick to 2 syllables because that's the correct way and say realtor. Repeat, realtor. You got it. And of course, a realtor is someone who sells your home for you, represents you in the transaction of buying and selling a home or property.
Oh, he's my realtor.
I'm both your realtors.
Our next word, this is something that I eat frequently as part of my diet. Many native speakers have no idea how to say this. I've heard some funny pronunciations like quinoa, quinoa, but it's actually quinoa, quinoa. So that emphasis on quinoa. Repeat that, quinoa. Now, quinoa is a grain and you can cook it very similar to rice and you can use it as a substitute to rice and it's very tasty. Our next word, this is another one that really annoys some native speakers when other native speakers pronounce it incorrectly. Do you know what the issue is? Some native speakers will say it with an X sound. Espresso, espresso.
Espresso, espresso, espresso.
And it really bothers some other native speakers who know it should be espresso with an S sound. So make sure you have that espresso, espresso. Repeat after me, espresso. If you're Italian, of course you have no issues pronouncing this word. Now, as for me, I don't like espresso. I find it's too strong, but I love cappuccinos, which is espresso with some steamed milk. Our next word, this is also one that I frequently don't know how to pronounce when I see the spelling of it, and it confuses me and I forget the actual pronunciation. When I see the spelling, I want to say peony, peony, but it's peony. Peony. So emphasis on that P, peony. Repeat that, peony. Now, if you didn't know, peony is a beautiful flowering plant. I have 3 peonies in my garden. I love watching them bloom in early summer. I have 2 white peonies and 1 pink peony. Our next word, this is another one where native speakers commonly add an extra syllable when it's not needed and technically it's incorrect. It's incorrect pronunciation. So native speakers will say verbiage, eage. So they add that extra syllable, verbiage. You can hear that extra syllable in this clip. Let's listen now.
Oh, there's that classy verbiage I love so much. Oh, there's that classy verbiage I love so much.
But there should only be 2 syllables. Verbiage, verbiage. Repeat that, verbiage. Now, this is an important one for language learners. Verbiage is language that is unnecessarily complicated and contains a lot of unnecessary words. So this is a negative thing, and it's used to criticize a communicator. Someone might complain and say his explanation contains so much technical verbiage that I couldn't understand it. Our next word, one I hear many different pronunciations of. For native speakers, I hear almond, but it's not al, it's almond, almond. And the emphasis is on that almond. Repeat that, almond. And of course, an almond is a type of nut. In North America, right now, it's very popular to offer almond milk as an alternative to dairy, to cow's milk. Is it the same in your country? So you might go to a cafe and say, can you make me a drink with espresso and almond milk? Did you enjoy improving your pronunciation? Do you want me to make more pronunciation lessons just like this? If you do, then put yes please, put yes please in the comments so I know you want more lessons. And of course, make sure you like this video, share it with your friends, and subscribe so you're notified every time I post a new lesson. And you can get this free speaking guide where I share 6 tips on how to speak English fluently and confidently. You can click here to download it or look for the link in the description. And you can keep improving your English with this lesson right now.